What's up DTube? What's up YouTube? Brian Phobos here. Today we're going to talk about connecting to the EOS blockchain, both the testnet, the Jungle Testnet, and the main network. There's been a lot of questions about that, and there's not a lot of guides out there, so let me show you a couple things about this now. First of all, we got a little bit of inception going on here. I want to tell you a little bit about my environment. This is Ubuntu 18.04 running in VirtualBox. So if you're just kind of getting started out, and you're like, I want to be able to connect to the EOS blockchain through the command line, through cleos, but you don't want to maybe build it in your environment, or maybe you're on Windows and you really can't build it on Windows. So you could download VirtualBox and you could install something like Ubuntu 18.04 in there. And then one thing that I'm going to tell you is that cleos is basically the way you're going to interface to the blockchain through the command line, and then cleos is the wallet daemon. So if you're going to store private keys in the wallet, which that's the main function that the wallet's going to do, is just store your private keys and do, sign transactions here locally. And then if you're not trying to be a block producer or anything, then you don't have to run Node.io if you're just connecting to the mainnet or the Jungle Testnet. Now, if you're testing something and you want to run the whole entire environment locally, you could run Node.io, and then you'll just be kind of on an internal testnet. So a couple tools here just to kind of show you. The Jungle Testnet, you can go to dev.cryptolions.io and you'll be able to look at this Jungle Testnet monitor and see a few things about it and all that stuff. And you can see a lot of the stuff going on here of different accounts being created, tokens being transferred, that kind of stuff. And you can connect to this if you're trying to test something first, and you can learn a lot there. And then also, that's again the Jungle Testnet. But if you go to eosnetworkmonitor.io, you'll see the mainnet monitor. And again, this is ran by Crypto Lions, the same people who are running the Jungle Testnet. So you'll see this stuff going on in the mainnet. One thing I want to announce is the maximum transactions, per second that EOS has achieved so far is 592. Now, if you think about that, Ethereum is capable of approximately around 15 transactions per second. So EOS has already far surpassed that, even in these early days and everything of the mainnet being up. And there's a lot going on here. You can see stuff going past. You can see different accounts being created. You can see people, delegating power to other accounts. You can see bandwidth being leased, all this kind of stuff. And if you want to see what happened in a particular block, you can click on this and it'll give you kind of this JSON data or whatever, of transaction IDs, how much CPU it used, like all the data that would be in that block of what just occurred there, and which block producer sort of like processed that block, all that kind of stuff. So let's get into this of how to connect to it. And one of the reasons that you would obviously want to connect to everything through cleos is these third-party applications that have web interfaces behind them. If you haven't, done any kind of code auditing on that, or you don't know if anybody's looked at it, and you're worried about your keys getting stolen, if you have, let's say, an account on the main network that was taken from the snapshot from the ERC20 tokens, and you're really freaked out about it, which is very understandable, and there's thousands and thousands of dollars worth of EOS in there, you might want to just stick with connecting through cleos. So let's go ahead and, I've already kind of punched in some of these commands and stuff, but again, the thing is, if you're going to work with wallets, you have to start cleos, and it will be in your path. You can just type in cleos and it'll start here and it could run. You could open up another tab and then you could start working with cleos. And if you just type in cleos, it'll bring up it's going to bring up all the potential options here. And syntax wise, it's like cleos, options, subcommand. So it's always, if it's like, let's say one of these things down here, it's like, let's say get, for instance, cleos, get, and then you could hit enter again, and then you see the subcommands underneath that. Get info, cleos, get info. So of course we didn't connect to a chain and we don't have node EOS running, so that's why nothing came up there. Now let's go ahead and connect to the Jungle Testnet, and I have this up here so I don't have to retype it. But here it is, cleos --URL and then http://dev.cryptolions.io : and then the port is 38888, and then you could be like get account skunk ape, or you could say get info just for the chain information. So right there we connected to the Jungle Testnet, and then it shows this chain ID and all that stuff like that, and you can sort of reference that with other information that's out there to make sure it's the right chain ID and all that kind of stuff. So you're connected now. So let's say we did get account, and I already created this account, skunk ape, on the test network. So this gives you some information about the memory quota, how much EOS is staked, kind of in this bandwidth category, and then the CPU bandwidth category. So that gives you a little bit of information there. Now let's do this. Like if you look at the Jungle Testnet, they actually have this faucet here. You can create accounts. You can create, you can actually like give yourself more coins here. So let's do skunk ape again, and let's do send coins. And this is just a general warning. It says transaction executed locally but may not confirm by the network yet executed, blah blah blah. But it did send it. It sent 10,000 EOS. So let's go back to the command line. And if you noticed up here, there was 100 EOS staked for bandwidth, 100 staked for CPU. So let's do the same exact thing again. Get account skunk ape, and then and I'm surprised it's not really showing here more coins. So I'm kind of surprised on that. Not really sure what's going on there. Let's go ahead and create another account just as like a test. So Jungle Testnet again, create account. And I mean, you can do this first. You can say account info here, and you can say like I did Rocky. So it's like get account, no account found. Well, if you want to confirm that, let's say through the command line, get account Rocky, and then it'll give you that error because that account doesn't exist. So let's go ahead and create it over here through the little interface. And you could go back and forth. Again, this is on the test net, so you can play around with this. Create account Rocky, and it's asking for the owner public key and the active public key. That's a little bit, because they don't give you a tool there to create the keys. But if you just do cleos create key, it'll create a key pair, and you could just do the same thing again, and you can say this first one is for your owner keys and the second one is your active keys. So then it's asking for owner public key And again, as we're doing this, I do want to mention I did allocate 8 gigabytes of RAM to this VirtualBox instance. You probably could get away with less because if you're not running Node EOS, but it recommends 8 gigabytes. Okay, here, let's get this back open again. And then this will be the active public key. Copy. Okay, so Rocky is going to be created. So boom. You know, and it delegated some RAM and all that stuff. So let's go back over here to the command, and then let's say, you know, get account Rocky. Well, now it exists, you know, because we just created it through that web interface. Whereas up here, up here, you know, it failed because it didn't exist. Now it's created. Now we're getting information from it. Now, if you're wanting to, let's say you want to save these keys that we created, because you got to think of it like this. If like the main thing that your wallet is doing is just housing your private keys. And you don't even need to do this whole like URL and then like whatever node you're connecting to. This one being the Jungle Test, a node on the Jungle Testnet. You know, you don't have to even like type that in. So you can just do like if you want to store those private keys and keep it in there and have you'll get a password for the wallet. Then you can just basically do this here. Cleos wallet create name Rocky. So you're going to create that, and it's going to give you this password here, and you'll want to save that. I don't really care about it. I'm not really going to do anything. This is just an example with it, but let's say like you could save that over in some other file, and then and then you're going to want to import the keys into it. So you'll do cleos wallet import in Rocky, and then you'll do, and I'm going back up here. I can still see like these keys that I created up here. So you do your private owner key, and for some reason you got to do them one at a time. I don't really get that, but you'll do, imported, and then you see like it'll say imported private key 4, and it'll show the public key PAL, and you see that was the same one that was associated up there with the one that we just imported, PAL. You're going to do it again for your active key. So you're going to do, you can just hit the up arrow. You can back this up. Paste. And then that's going to be your active key. So you've got that. Let's say you do, and again, I want to reiterate, since you're doing all the wallet stuff locally, so you don't have to put in that URL thing. Cleos wallet, and let's say if you're like, oh, what's the command again? I don't remember. Cleos wallet, and you'd be like, okay, right here, Cleos wallet list. What wallets do we have? Have we created? Which wallets are listed on here? And so we got Rocky. And if you notice this asterisk is by it, that means it's unlocked. The wallet is unlocked. That means that we can sign a transaction to the network. So if you wanted to, let's say, transfer coins to another account or something like that, that needs to be unlocked so that you can sign a transaction. But let's go again, and let's say, let's say if we did this, if we were like, oh, let's check out the information about Rocky again. Like get info or get the account info or whatever. Oh, hold on. Okay, so cleos get, let's say account, and then let's say name Rocky, or actually I just think it's Rocky. And we did this, we're not connected to any Node.EOS instance, so it's going to give us this error. But then if you're like, oh yeah, well I need to connect to the chain, you just have to have that URL instance in there. Get account Rocky, boom, we got the information. And since our wallet's unlocked, at this point, like we could, do other accounts, transfer, that kind of stuff. Now let's go ahead and I'm going to tell you how to, connect to the mainnet. I was connecting to an individual node. So, if we go, or I'm going to have to back pretty far up, so I don't have to retype this. Okay, so here it is. Cleos --URL http://node2.liquideos.com:8888 and then space and then your whatever command you're doing, get account, and then Jacksonville was one that was already created. I tried to get that account, but it was already taken. And just a word on the accounts right now, you can really only register 12 character accounts, and they can be pretty much any letter in the alphabet. They can have a period in there, and they can be like, I think it's numbers 1 through I think 4 or 5. You can't have a 0 in there. There's different criteria there, and all this bidding that's going on. And if we look at the mainnet monitor, okay, let's say we do the same thing, and we're like, well, what about these shorter names, like Brian? It'll just give us an error because that's going to be a premium name. Let's say it's got to be the ones that are getting soaked up are these 12 character ones. So Indianapolis is 12 characters and somebody else has it. So you can go over here to eosnetworkmonitor.io, and you can see, you can get account info there of these different ones. But like if you yank somebody's, let's say it says transfer, and then this person, let's just do this. So I'm just going to click on this block so I can snag this person's username easier. Okay, so this is the account and this would be like an original account that they were given this username from the snapshot. You've all got that, and if you're wondering, like when you look at these, so that you're not confused when you come to the command line, and I don't really like the way this displays, but let's say, okay, get account, and then we put in that username, boom. They don't have much staked anymore. It looks like that they unstaked a bunch. And I don't like the way this displays personally, because it should show like what's unstaked. But you see over here, it's showing unstaked quantity 171, and then for the CPU there's 171. So what you're gonna see, like when you first import, like when you first try to connect to the account that you were given for the snapshot, you're actually gonna see, you're gonna see one here, and let's say okay, let's say you had 100 EOS. You're gonna see 45 here. You're gonna see 45 here, which is gonna total 90, and you actually have 10 liquid EOS in your account. Now, why it doesn't show up on this just main view, I'm not really sure why they did it that way, but it is there. You do have 10 liquid EOS. But for the most part for this video, I don't want to really go any further into, trying to create the 12-letter accounts. Just remember that. And if you look at this, these people trying to register like accounts that are less than 12 characters, here's a good warning. It says, attention EOS community. When name auctions begin shortly, the system will award exactly 1 name per day. That's like, okay, if I wanted to get the name Brian on like as my wallet address, it's only going to award that once a day. So it's like whoever, it says the highest bid for the whole name auction system will determine which premium name gets awarded. There's only going to be 1 awarded each day. So to get Brian, I would have to, try to pay like hundreds of EOS for the wallet Brian. So it doesn't make sense to even do it. Do not waste resources by making dust bids on premium names. There was a bunch of people out there trying to bid 0.001 EOS. Suggested minimum bid 1 EOS. I mean, it's this whole bidding system that they did for these premium names that are under 12 characters, to me, is just, it doesn't make sense. That's just me. But anyway, that's just word of warning. I wouldn't waste time right now trying to get these ones that are less than 12 characters. You could search around for ones that are less than 12 characters. But I'm going to tell you right now, a lot of this stuff's been soaked up. I was on this right away to try to get a lot of 12 character stuff, and I did get some stuff. But again, some of the ones I didn't get, Indianapolis, Jacksonville, Pennsylvania, Entrepreneur, so on and so forth. Other people beat me to the punch, and I was all over this like a rat on a Cheeto. So anyway, that's how you connect to the mainnet and get, you can connect to the Jungle Testnet, and you can connect to the mainnet by putting this -- URL and putting a specific node, in there, and then you can start to interact with it. And when you're dealing with your wallet, you don't have to put any kind of URL. And just remember, anytime you put that -- URL, you should never be posting any situation where you're putting any kind of private key. If you get kind of confused of wait a minute, in this command, do I put the private key or the public key? Anytime you're kind of adjusting an account or something like that, and you've got that -- URL, you're always going to be broadcasting the public key, the public address. You're not going to be doing the private address. The only time you're going to do private addresses is when you're importing them into your wallet, and then your wallet's just going to be locally there, and it's going to sign the transaction. So hopefully that makes a little more sense and get you guys started out. Let me know in the comments sections below what other videos you want me to do on EOS regarding the command line or any other EOS related stuff. I know it's kind of confusing out there. We're all trying to get our bearings and stuff, so let's stick together and help each other out. Follow me on all social media at Brian Phobos, Instagram, Twitter, Steemit, YouTube. See you guys later.